the Ravens. They're now 5-3. They're now finding a way to hang on and win games. Mike McDonald, the defensive coordinator, who was under a lot of fire for those blown double-digit fourth-quarter leads. He got a game ball last night in the locker room, but it was the offense and Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, that helped make it easier for the defense by getting those points. As you rattled off the stats, second-half performance. Unbelievable. 35 plays, 297 yards, 102 rushing, 16 first downs, all in the second half. They scored on their first 4 possessions, starting with the third quarter. That's the difference in the game. They were sluggish, they were sleepwalking, they woke up, and they got it going. And if we can see that kind of play in the second half from the Ravens on a regular basis, they're going to be the team to beat in the AFC North, and they're going to be a real contender when January rolls around in the AFC, Peter.
You know, Mike, it's, you know, I think after you watch a game like this, because we do this, there's only 17 of them. So after each game, it feels like you want to make a definitive judgment on the game and where that team stands. The good news for the Ravens, in my opinion, coming out of this game last night, is that all through training camp, you know what you heard? Isaiah Likely is really a good, threatening alternative to Mark Andrews. Well, now you get Andrews' shoulder hurt, and you really don't know, is Andrews going to miss some time? Is he going to be okay? Is he going to be in trouble to try to make, to try to make an impact the rest of the year? But, Mike, I said before we talk about Isaiah Likely, I just need to tell you a story about Isaiah Likely and what happened in the draft this year. So every year on draft weekend, I try to go and get inside a team. And this year, the Baltimore Ravens had 6 fourth-round draft choices. And so in many cases, the Ravens over the years have gotten fat with these middle-round picks from compensatory picks and trades and all that. So here they were. And as the draft went on and as they kept going and going through this fourth round, they had made 4 picks already. Jordan Stout win it, the punter win it, number 130 overall. And so the next pick for the Baltimore Ravens was number 139. They had 2 firm trade offers. One of them was from Kansas City, the other from Jacksonville. But Eric DeCosta, the GM, had gathered all these picks. He had a bunch of guys he wanted to pick. And right now, they wanted to take Calvin Austin, a little Smurfy wide receiver from Memphis. And then at pick number 138, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Calvin Austin. And somebody in the draft room basically uttered an expletive and said, "You got to be kidding me." So the Ravens really didn't know what to do. You know, they had really counted on having Calvin Austin. But at that moment, maybe a couple of minutes into it, John Harbaugh said to Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, "Hey, we like this guy Likely a little bit, even though we've just taken a tight end, Charlie Kolar from Iowa State, who's been hurt this year. Even though we just taken a tight end, what do you think of Likely? Can you find something for him?" And he said, "Oh, yeah." And they picked him because they thought that he had this wide receiver, tight end vibe that would really mesh well with the big, lumbering, but athletic Mark Andrews. And so they are being rewarded now for taking a guy 139th when they didn't have a great need at tight end, but they took him, best player available, who was a combination wide receiver tight end. And last night, I'm not saying they wouldn't have won the game without Isaiah Likely, but he made some crucial plays down the stretch. And in addition, he got the toe tap touchdown in the end zone that was vital in the second half. So I think Isaiah Likely now going forward, now that he's had his welcome to the NFL, big game, he becomes a guy down the stretch. If the Ravens are going to beat Cincinnati in this division, they're going to need some performances like that last night from Isaiah Likely.
6 catches, 77 yards, and that was a great catch at the back of the end zone because of the fact that Lamar Jackson was on the move. When you're in the end zone and you're running around trying to find a spot, you got to be ready for the ball to come out at any instant when Lamar Jackson starts moving around. Isaiah Likely was ready. He got the catch. He got the feet down. And then, Peter, he made a fairly critical play at the very end of the game, the onside kick. Didn't mess around, balls bouncing, and he grabbed it and made it look easy. That's one thing that is very hard to do, is making the recovery of an onside kick look easy. All the pressure is on you in that moment. The game is potentially riding on your ability to grab this ball when it's squibbing around in a way that it ordinarily doesn't when you're trying to catch it. And he was authoritative, decisive, and he got it done, and I'm sure that's going to win him some points with John Harbaugh and company because it kept Tom Brady from having that one last chance. I mean, he really did make it look easy and routine, and anyone who watches football knows that recovering an onside kick is anything but easy and routine, Peter.
And, you know, I think the one thing that it says to his team is that you can count on me. You can count on me on the hands team, on special teams. You can count on me to be an every down player in the offense. And, Mike, the one other thing I think you notice when you watch this game last night is, you know, in his interactions after catches and everything with Lamar Jackson, you can just see he's treating him like he's been there for 10 years. You know, there's no, well, this guy comes in from Coastal Carolina, you know, as a guy who nobody really loved in this draft, lasted till the end of the 4th round. And he's a guy who comes in and he plays well in training camp, disappears a little bit early on in the season. But you could tell last night, Lamar Jackson trusts Isaiah Likely, and he's not surprised by Isaiah Likely. There's no great emotion around the team saying, oh my God, look at this guy. It's like, okay, you're one of us.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.